If you thought that America's obsession with the border came out of nowhere, there might be a reason for that. Okay, I recently finished The End of Myth by Grandin, and this book is not just another history lesson. It's a damn MRI scan of the American psyche. Grandin argues that the United States didn't just have a frontier. It used the frontier as a pressure valve, a political cheat code. Whenever we faced crisis, racism, inequality, class conflict, we pushed the problem outward. More land, more markets, more wars. Anything except actually fixing the stuff inside our own borders. But here's the thing, that strategy hits a wall, literally. Once the frontier closes, once you can't sell infinite expansion anymore, the country doesn't just magically grow up, it panics. And the violence that used to point outward starts to point inward. That's Grandin's whole point. The border wall, the deportation machine, ICE, detention centers. These aren't new distortions. They're the leftovers of a myth we ran out of runway for. And here's the part that burned a hole straight in my brain. Grandin says that the wall is what America built instead of a functional social safety net. You don't invest in universal healthcare, affordable housing, education, cool. You get border fortification. You get deportation jets. You get an entire detention infrastructure that costs billions of dollars, ruins lives, and solves nothing. Because it's not meant to solve anything. It's meant to symbolize control when a government can't deliver stability. Punishment of innocent people standing in for policy. And before anyone goes, oh, so it's a Trump book. No. Grandin's entire argument is that if you read it as only anti-Trump, you're entirely missing the point. The frontier myth is bipartisan. Decades of leaders, left, right, everything in between, who used expansion and outsourcing and war to distract from the fact that we refuse to build systems that actually care for people. Trump didn't invent the wall, he just made the invisible stuff visible. And we have to talk about race. Grandin never lets you pretend that racial violence is an accident. The frontier myth requires it. Every single time we moved the border outward, it was built on indigenous people, slavery, and anti-Mexican violence. That legacy doesn't disappear, it mutates. Today's border policy is running the same operating system. Different century, same software. It's not incidental, it's structural. Reading this in 2025 with deportation flights scaling up and every party trying to look tough at the border, the book feels less like history and more like a manual for understanding why our country is so locked in on punishment over care. When a country refuses to invest in people, it invests in walls. When hope dries up, enforcement swells. You can almost watch the frontier myth collapse in real time. So here's my question for you. Do you think America leans on border enforcement because it works, or because it distracts from the social programs that we refuse to build? You don't need to read the book. Just tell me what your heart says.